Have you recently discovered that your position has been eliminated? Just like that, you find out that you no longer have a job? Well, I've noticed several people asking me about how to go from unemployed to starting a thriving business. I spoke with someone recently who once thought that losing a job was the worst thing that ever happened to him. And 2 years later, he owns a business, employs several people, and said it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him. If you have had your job eliminated, I want to start by saying something that is important, and that is your value as a human being was never determined by a job title. A lot of talented, intelligent, hardworking people are finding themselves in this situation right now, and it's easy to feel uncertain about what comes next. When someone threatens our sense of security, our minds naturally go into survival mode. And that's why many people feel overwhelmed, stressed, or unable to think clearly after receiving difficult news. Before making any major decisions, just take a breath and talk with people that you trust. Give yourself permission to think strategically instead of reacting emotionally. And then start looking at the opportunities in front of you. One trend I'm seeing is that many people aren't rushing to find another employer. They're asking different questions. What if this is a moment I build something of my own that I own myself? Maybe it's a business based on skills you've developed over the years, or maybe it's buying an existing business with a proven track record. Maybe it's investing in a franchise that already has systems, training, and brand recognition. The reality is that many successful businesses were started by people who reached a point where they decided they wanted more control over their future. They wanted to build an asset instead of depending on someone else's decisions. Of course, starting or acquiring a business requires planning. It requires understanding the market, evaluating opportunities, and making smart financial decisions. One of the biggest questions people ask is, how do I get the capital to make it happen? There are funding options available today that many people don't realize exist. Depending on qualifications that could include startup funding, business lines of credit, business acquisition financing, or leveraging existing assets strategically to create capital for a new venture. The key is understanding your options before making a move. If you're exploring business ownership, buying a franchise, acquiring an existing business, or simply trying to determine what your next chapter of life looks like, I'd be happy to start a conversation. Sometimes one conversation can help you see possibilities that aren't obvious when you're looking through the lens of uncertainty. A job ending doesn't have to be the end of the story. For some people, it's the beginning of the business they've always wanted to build.